What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Media Podcast. I am Jordan Wheeler. Here today with me as my co-host is Jose. The other boys aren't here. You know what? Isaac is out there gallivanting around in California again. You know, Flix has talked about how he's sick or his throat hurts. But you know what? You know who's an OG right here? Jose. He's not going to stop. Won't stop. Can't stop. Get it. He's the new Diddy of the internet.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
So what's going on, Jose? How you doing, man?
Nothing much, man. We're just out here surviving the winter storm. It's been quite the day of ice and almost spinning out in a 94 horsepower Honda Civic.
This was like Jose, the third or fourth week we were supposed to talk to Mr. Brian Garcia Tirado about him getting on Netflix, and we're not doing it again this week.
Yeah, it's just something's happened. You got a little tummy ache or a little fever again, which is weird. It happens every year around this time too.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the guy just needs to drink some OJ and buckle up. You know what I'm saying? Isaac, we know Isaac's a little flaky from time to time. No, I'm joking, Isaac. I'm joking.
I love you.
Yes, absolutely. Jose loves you. But so today we got to figure out something that we're going to talk about. So got any ideas?
You did make a reel today explaining how you were approached by a police officer. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I took my son out today because he has never driven in the snow before. And I said, hey, you know what? How about we get you out here in one of these parking lots, allow you to see what happens if the car does slide. So we went to the local school. And this is an area where I taught both my kids how to drive. I have some friends of the family that have brought their kids to me and currently bring their kids to me, and I teach them how to drive or assist in the teaching of how they drive. And we go out to this parking lot, and this is where everybody takes their kids. The other day I was out there, and there was 3 or 4 other parents out there in vehicles teaching their kids how to drive. So it's not like an area that's off limits to anyone, or we can't do any training out there. So I thought, no big deal. There was a police officer out there in the parking lot. I would assume it's probably because there are some people out there that mess around or were trying to slide around in the parking lot. But I thought, hey, you know what? He's going to see that I'm just out here giving a driving lesson. Everything's going to be fine. So we're driving up and down the parking lot, and we go to make one turn, and on that turn, the car slides out on my son. Now, we're in the GR Corolla. It's an all-wheel drive vehicle. I'm not talking like we were out there in the Mustang or the Raptor or anything like this. It's a hatchback Corolla. So the car slides out on him, and you know what? I was like, okay, catch it. So he's able to catch the car, straighten it out. Everything's fine. Next thing I know, cop turns on his lights, comes over, and he says, you can't do that here. I said, sorry, officer, my son has never driven in the snow before. I was having him drive in the snow so he could get some practice here before we go out on the street. He said, yeah, well, you can't do that here. And I looked at him, and at this point, I'm a little perturbed because clearly we're not out there drifting around. We're not doing anything crazy. He saw us going up and down this parking lot. And I said to him, so would you prefer me to take my son out onto the street with everybody else who doesn't know what they're doing and have him learn out there with them? He said, you just can't do it here. Find another parking lot. I said, okay, have a great day. And we drove off. I've been mad about that all day since that happened. That's one of those things that just kind of slips my synchros. And I'm telling you, Houston, we need to get it in gear because I don't understand. Like, again, I know he was out there to do his job, and he was probably called out there because people were doing all this. I know I wouldn't want to sit in a car in the middle of a parking lot while it's cold outside. But you can clearly tell the difference between someone messing around and playing around in a parking lot and someone being given a lesson. And this is part of the problem, I feel like, with why we have so many bad drivers in Texas. No offense to anybody here in Texas. If you're not a bad driver, this doesn't pertain to you anyway. But here in Texas, if you don't know, we are self-taught, or we can do either, we can take it to a driving school and they teach the kids out there in the same parking lots that we were at and out on the street, or you can do it as a parent. And that's what I've done, like I said, with my 2 children. It's not taught at the school. There's nothing like that. So if you're not allowed to teach your kids in a safe, controlled atmosphere, where can you teach them? And then that just makes me think, like, we keep shutting down all of our tracks. The Baytown Raceway, Royal Purple Raceway in Baytown, Texas, got shut down. Texas World Speedway in College Station got shut down. We've had so many different areas around Texas, whether it be racetracks or drag strips, even some of the areas, parking lots and whatnot that people would go to do their autocrosses. And all this stuff is getting shut down, and people are saying that we can't go out there. And then that leads to we're having more accidents out there in the streets because people don't know what they're doing when they get around other vehicles or in the rain or in slick conditions, and they don't know what to do. And Houston has so many accidents. And then we also have a problem with the sideshows. So I just don't understand how, if we're going to close down all the safe spots for people to have automotive fun, and then we're going to kick people out of all the safe spots to learn how to drive, how exactly are we expecting people to do all of this? So we're going to create more accidents out on the street from people learning and from people trying to play around. It's just stupid. I just don't get it. You talk about, you hear people talk about on the news all the time, oh, you need to take this to a safe space. You need to take it to a safe space. Where is that safe space? Like, I don't get it whatsoever. And it's made me mad. My son said, hey, just don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal. I was like, no,
it is. Definitely. Because for us in San Antonio, the last, I guess, racing place that we have is I-37 Speedway next to Jordanton. And that's already closed down. But it's on and off again, but then people just forget about it because that's like not even close. The next one after that is probably what? Coda. Or church parking lots that are allowed by organizations like SCCA, SASCA, and the Houston Police Academy.
Yeah, and it's wild to me because, like, you have these areas that are getting shut down where people can go and drift and they can go and do autocross, which not every track will allow you to drift at. So there's some regulations on things like that, and they don't always allow it at all tracks. And then with the autocross stuff, that blows my mind too, because again, you're not doing any damage. I would say autocross is the safest sport with the least amount of damage to vehicles and surrounding objects as you can get. But then you have so many people that are my son's age or in between that age and my age that can't really afford to go to a track day. We've said here on this podcast before that there are some tracks that you go to, it's $350 for 2 half-hour sessions. If you're going longer than that, that's now you're bridging over $600 into the thousands, depending on what you're there for. And not everybody can afford that. So if you cut out all the cheaper tracks, then you know what? Where people don't have a place to learn, and then they feel intimidated by trying to go to the larger tracks or more advanced tracks. So then they don't go. Then what happens? Then you have the revenue from those tracks go down. And the problem too is not everybody hosts a NASCAR or an F1 race. The only thing that keeps COTA alive is F1. Now, there are other race series that come there, but they come there because F1 also goes there. And then if you look at Texas Motor Speedway up in Dallas, that's kept alive by NASCAR and only NASCAR. Formula Drift doesn't even go there anymore. So then you start looking at all these other tracks around the country that don't have that. What's happening to them? They're selling off to developers, building houses. That's what happened to Texas World Speedway in College Station, which was one of the first tracks I went to when I came here to Texas. So it's just, I don't know, it just annoys the piss out of me. And I know that Texans had said, and our government said, hey, you know what? There's icy conditions out there. Stay home. Don't go outdoors. Everything's getting shut down. But not everything gets shut down because some people still have to go to work. Some people still have to make a living. Some people still need to get out there and get baby formula and diapers or, you know what, cigarettes and milk and never come home. But whatever that might be, if you don't have a way to safely get yourself there or you haven't experienced this before, it's a nightmare. I know the first year I was here in Texas and there was ice, there was over 130 accidents, I believe they had said, that day on the highways from people just trying to get around. That's insane. That blows my mind. But if you never have the experience and you're not given a safe space to learn, what are you going to do? I don't know. It's just stupid to me.
a heavy suggestion within auto manufacturers, like, hey, if you buy this car, go take a like the Porsche driving experience, the dark horse track days, the Bronco off rodeos, like that type of situation, but in everyday life. Because yeah, you can take the Bronco off road, you can take the Mustang to go fast as hell, but in a daily setting, if you're using it as a daily driver, you should learn how to use it in wet, slippery, icy conditions to then better to help yourself.
Our boy Flicks, he sent us a video of him driving his Jeep earlier today. It's a classic Jeep. It's an off-road vehicle, but that thing looped on him, just driving straight down the street. He caught the whole thing on video, but it's like he's an experienced driver, so he was able to get himself situated and he was okay. But not everybody is that way. You know, I am teaching some people right now that this is their first time getting behind the wheel of a vehicle, you know, and now there's icy conditions out here. Granted, it's Texas, so it's going to be gone very soon. But you know what? Why chance it? Why not give these people a safe space to train and you know, just be able to understand that it's okay if you make a mistake. You can catch this and you can survive it. But, you know, why do that? You know, let's just go ahead and chase everybody away from all the safe spaces.
Dude, speaking of driving to work today, dude, there were so many people driving like 30 miles an hour on the highway. And I was like, dude, come on, just scooch over, just go to the far, far right lane, because some of us actually have experience. I'm not going to say that I have the most experience, but definitely more than enough to like fix myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's crazy to me. I look at a place like the Porsche Experience Center that they have in Atlanta. There's also one in LA, and I don't remember where the other one is. There's 3 different experience centers. It might just be another one in Germany. But either way, there's one in Atlanta, there's one in LA. And they have a course set up where you can go there and you can drive Porsches or bring your own Porsche there. They have regular miniaturized track there layout so you can get up to speed, check how it handles. But they also have it set up where they have like chicanes and slaloms and stuff for you to understand the handling. And then they have a skid pad. It's a big painted area that they keep wet. And if you've never been on track before, or if you've never been out in really wet conditions on an area that overpaints their roads, the minute you touch one of those painted areas and it's wet, it's like ice. It's completely like ice. There's no keeping that car in a straight line. It's going to slide out, and then you got to learn how to control it. Well, I think there should be more places like that where people can just go learn to drive. That necessarily, you don't have to have a Porsche to be able to get in there to do it. But you know what? Why do that? Let's just give everybody all the tools in the world to go out there and just drive and smash into people and not educate them on how to use them.
This would be a great insert for the Shrek meme of Lord Farquaad saying, "Some of you may die today, but that is a risk I'm willing to take."
I mean, you don't have, your child isn't old enough to drive yet, but one day he'll be there and you'll understand. It's not great, man. It's not great.
My parents got him a bike for Christmas. Now he wants to ride that thing up and around everywhere, which is totally grateful. But now I'm like, cool. So now I'm showing him all these cars, and he's going to learn how to drive like that. But then I also need to teach him to like hold back, because that boy, once you put him on that bike, he's like 2 miles that way.
Yeah, it's crazy. My brother has a son, my nephew. I think he's 3 this year. I don't remember. I'm a horrible uncle because of this. But one of the first things that we got for him was we got him this Lamborghini. I think it's a Sion. Either way, it's a Lamborghini Power Wheel. The thing's cool. It's got a remote control. And my brother would drive him around on that thing with the remote. But now he's old enough that he can reach the pedals and whatnot. And he'll grab that thing and he'll just take off across the yard with it, have some fun. He drives down the street to grandma's house and goes to visit her. And so he's got that wheeler blood in him. He's a wheel man. He's going to have a lot of fun with that. And I think it's really cool to be able to give kids something like that to learn at a very young age. Not everybody has the ability to do that. But I know when my kids were younger, one thing I really wanted to do that I didn't get the chance to do was put them in a go-kart, like take them to a go-kart track and put them in one of the go-kart leads. I thought that would be so cool.
Now, as far as Houston, how many go-kart tracks are there around you?
Oh shit, I have no idea. I know there's quite a few, but I really have no idea. I know there's a K1 here. There used to be one called Track 21, but that recently closed down. Man, I really don't know how many are here in the Houston area. Why, do you guys have a lot over there in San Antonio?
We have Andretti, we have K1, we have San Antonio Karting Complex, we have Texas Kart, it looks like. There's a couple, but most of, like Andretti's K1, they're obviously open. San Antonio Kart, seen some events held there, but that's out in like headed towards what is it, Seguin, so far east San Antonio. So they're here. It's a little bit of ways away from the San Antonio downtown area.
I know my son just recently went out to a go-kart track with a friend of his for their birthday. And I believe that was up in Conroe, Texas. That was, I don't know, like 30 minutes north of us. And he had a lot of fun. He said that they told them that those go-karts can get upwards of like 60, 70 miles an hour, but they had them all toned down. I know my very first trip here to Texas, I was taken to a spot that's not too far from where I live now. I'm not even sure if it's still open, but it was an outdoor track. And these carts looked like they were mini F1 cars. You had to have a valid driver's license before they would let you get in them. And then they issued you a license from them. So you would bring that in every time you were there. They would have you go out and do a couple laps and see how you were doing. And then they would turn it up based on how you did. And then the more times you came, the more they could turn it up. I'm not exactly sure how fast those cars ultimately would go, but they were quick, man. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so just for the record, if we were to go to K1, just you, me, Brian, Isaac, who do you think would place top podium?
Oh, I would, for sure. No problem.
What?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what do you think I was going to do? Like, oh, I don't know, man. I'll be middle of the pack. I'll be the last. No, I'm going to win.
Dude, okay, so we told you what happened last time, right?
No.
K1, when we went to Vegas, they were like, all right, so this is your first time karting? I'm like, yeah, cool, let's go. Shout out to everybody, Alejo, all the guys. I was like taking it slow because I've never been go-karting, so I went like really slow on the first lap. And I was like just feeling the streets. And then the second we got off, I was looking at the results and I was second to last. And no, actually I was dead last, if I'm not mistaken. I still have the timer, but I was dead last. And I was like, dude, I suck. What do I need to fix? Looking at Alejo and Brian, they were like, everything. And I was like, all right, so let's get it. And then they call their names back up. I get in the car seat and I'm like, all right, let's show them. And then I got in, pressed the gas to the floor. I got second, and I also got second overall, like fastest lap. So I feel like I got that dog in me, dude. Don't underestimate me, because I'm gonna come for that title.
No, hey, I don't underestimate you at all. I'm sure that you can handle yourself very well, and from the sounds of it, you did great there. But I will say the one thing that wasn't there was me. And I also believe that I said to everybody that day when they were asking, I said, well, I'm not going to be there. So you guys got a better chance right now. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think you guys do great. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see.
Yeah, you're ready to lose, though. Is that the better part?
Am I ready to lose? I don't know. I've never done it. So, I mean, there's a first time for everything, right?
You got a point, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey, who knows? I'm sure that I'm going to have plenty of losses ahead of me this season, stepping up into the modified class for rallycross. The guy that has been leading, Lawrence, he has been dominating all season long. He doesn't miss an event. So the chances of me even winning the championship, if I could build a car, which I'm sure that I could, that could compete with his, the chances of me winning the championship are completely off the table, because I maybe made it to half of the events, maybe a little over half the events they did this year. I think they did 13 events and I made it to 6, maybe 7 events for Lone Star Rallycross.
You had other things though.
No, yeah, 100%. So I only made it to 6 or 7 events, but I was able to place first or second every single time that I went. So that helped with Lawrence being as fast as he is. And we're talking like, if you compare his time to some of the other people in that bracket, or even to my time, he's like maybe overall, this is a cumulative time, 20 seconds of total time faster than everybody else. That's a big gap to fill. So there's no way if I do not go to every single event, I'd even have a chance. So at this point, I'm just playing for second place. But there are some very, very fast people in that modified class. So we'll see how it goes. I know there's also the SCCA Houston moving into a modified class there too. That's where a lot of the bigger competition is, no matter where you go. So we'll see how it is. I'm probably going to get very, very familiar with losing this season. Man, I don't know. I might have to just go back to drifting and just whoop up on Brian and Isaac. That way I feel a sense of gratification.
You can't just always look on the negative side of it. You got to always look towards the future. You're going to get that championship here soon too, right?
I mean, I did win the championship for Lone Star Rallycross just this past season, as well as the Houston Region SCCA championship there for stock all-wheel drive. So 2 regional championships that I got. So this year for sure, I'm going to have to try and go to the nationals. I wasn't able to do that last year because that fell on the exact same weekend of Irwindale. So I was out there working with RTR. We had a fan experience there in which somebody won a trip out to Irwindale, California, which is so crazy looking back on it now. Because not only did this person win this experience, went to their very first drift event, but unknowingly went to the very last drift event, professional drift event at Irwindale Speedway, the House of Drift. And then I was talking to Ethan the other day, and it just kind of clicked with me as I'm looking at the FD schedule, and the last round is still TBD. And I'm like, wow. My very last event at Irwindale, I went to RTR, won a championship. I got to go out on the track and be there when James did his victory lap. I was on the track for the opening ceremonies. And then again, we locked down the championship at the end of the night. So to be the last event at Irwindale, that was one hell of an event, not just for me, but everybody there in attendance. But for myself personally, having gone there for the last 5 years, maybe, or at least 4 out of the last 5 years, that was wild. And to look back on it now, it's kind of surreal, and to know that it's gone, it's a cool memory to have, not just of my time here at RTR, but of my time within the drifting world. It was awesome, man.
Now, you did mention it was TBD. What is your best hope that the season finale for this year would be? Where would it be located at?
Oh man, I have no idea. I almost feel like they need to find somewhere out in California to do it, because that's where the finals have always been, and it's always such a good turnout. Irwindale has been selling out, I don't know, consecutively for the last few years. I had a schedule. So that's where drifting in the States, I feel like, got its big beginning nationally. So I feel like it needs to be there. I know the people of Texas would love for there to be Formula Drift back here in Texas, but I don't know where that would be. I know that it's not a great relationship with Texas World Speedway or Texas Motor Speedway. I don't really see that being something that they would do at Circuit of America. I don't see them wanting that there. But also, too, if you look at the layout of the stands, it's not really good for the viewing of something like a drift event. Man, I really don't know. There are a lot of places it could go. I almost then feel like if you don't have a place that you can think of that would be great to replace it as the final, personally myself, I feel that the next biggest spot for drifting and that has the most history in the world of drifting is Road Atlanta. I know it's always such a huge crowd there. I believe that was the very first Formula Drift event was held there. So to me, I would say you move that from second of the season, move that to the final event, and then find another filler event for the other events of the season, and just cap it all off at Atlanta would be my suggestion. But then again, I mean, you're talking October, so it's going to start getting a little bit colder around. So I don't know. Somewhere in California would be great, but who knows? There's not a lot of tracks out there anymore. Willow Springs doesn't really have a great viewing area. You'd have to bring stands out, the cost to do that. Other than that, I don't really know any other tracks. Laguna Seca isn't going to let you do that because, I mean, they have enough trouble right now with the homeowners in the area complaining about noise. So who knows, man? It's still very much up in the air. I thought that Formula Drift would have released that, but they haven't. So it's still very much TBD. So we'll see. Why? Where do you think it should go?
I was going to say Laguna Seca is like my number one pick, but then the homeowner situation, I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing, but I like the Road Atlanta. That would be a good one.
Yeah, so we'll see. I know they're actively working on it and they're looking for somewhere big because you have to have someplace big for the finals. You really can't half-ass it. And I mean, there's been so many years now that the championship truly has been decided there. I know when Vaughn won his championship, it came down to both years that he won it. It came down to Irwindale. James's came down to Irwindale. I mean, all he had to do technically was pull up to the line. But considering the car started on fire at the beginning of the year, I mean, anything could happen. Chelsea's came down to Irwindale. So many championships have come down to the final round that you got to make sure that you go big with it. And Irwindale was just such a great area to do it. You had the oval there. The stadium was set up just right for viewing Irwindale. So I don't know. We'll see. They definitely have their work cut out for them. And you got to do it somewhere where it's going to be at least somewhat warm,
Well, if we're talking about warm, throwing this out there, this might be a little bit too, I don't know, riskier sorts. But what I would like to see is the Freedom Factory. They do have the oval. If you've ever been a fan of Cletus McFarlane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know all about it. So I believe that was a place that has been brought up. I don't know how feasible it would be, but I know that it's not off the table. Now, when I say I know it's not off the table, I'm not saying that I've been talking to Ryan or anyone there to get this information, but I know that they're actively looking and they're taking everything very seriously, and they're willing to go someplace that not only will be great for the drivers, great for FD, but more importantly, great for the fans. And that's truly what they want, because drifting fans make the experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you. People are up on their feet cheering. Jared gets them going with the wave. It's a crazy experience. Have you been to an FD round, Jose?
Negative. I have not yet.
Oh, yeah. You got to get out and go to one, at least one this year.
I have to. I might have to stick around with Isaac and just hop in his suitcase while he goes to one.
Dude, Isaac drives to all of these things, man. I'm sure that you can find a way to get in there with him.
Let's see, Formula Drift. What's the closest one to Texas? Let's see. There's Georgia. There's Utah. I think he was talking about going to Utah.
Yeah, he usually goes to Utah, but I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see where he goes this year. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. And oh man, my camera is getting ready to die. So, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're already at 33 minutes here. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We'll put a pin in it here. We're going to leave you guys hanging the same way FD does by not letting you know where the next event is going to be. But if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to us on Spotify, put down in the comments where you think that the next FD round is going to be. I know Jose wants it close to Texas. Who knows? Maybe it'll come back to Texas, but we'll see. Hey, in the next one, who knows what we're going to talk about? It could be anything. Maybe we'll talk to you about how Jose used to be the stand-in Rey Mysterio. Is that true? I don't know, but you're going to have to watch the next one to find out. Hey, Jose, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for being a stand-in G. No matter what, bro.
Dude, I got y'all. Thank you for everything. And just make sure to follow us on all platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Facebook, we have YouTube, we have Instagram. Hop on all of them. If you're listening to us on Spotify, thank you guys so much. Hop over to YouTube and watch this video. If you're watching us on YouTube, hop over to Spotify. We'll be your friends on your car rides to work. Until the next one, this has been Yes Way Jose. I am Jordan Wheeler. Thank you guys. Peace.